I'm Diane Resignola from Nareit, and I'm here today with Brandon Landas, Partner, National SEC Department at BDO. Brandon, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Diane.
You're a panelist on a session at Nareit's upcoming REITwise conference titled PCAOB and SEC Non-legal Update. What are some SEC regulatory developments that are important at this time?
I think my focus on the current regulatory environment is twofold. First, we have a number of new rules and regulations to understand and implement. The SEC was very active in 2020 in the way of rulemaking. And so that required companies to work through and implement these new rules in recent months, and we need to help them comply and understand on our own as well. Of particular note for REITs would be the amendments to the financial disclosure requirements for acquired real estate properties under Rule 314, as well as the related pro forma requirements. By revising these significance calculations and thresholds and the resulting pro forma requirements, the staff helped REITs out in the way that there will be fewer instances where acquired financial statements of acquired properties will be required in SEC filings. Similarly, the SEC simplified the financial disclosure requirements related to registered debt offerings. The goal of those amendments was to align the reporting requirements, which hadn't been updated in a while, with the needs of investors, and also reduce the cost and the regulatory burden for the registrants. And hopefully this encourages more registered debt offerings in the future. And one of the last things I'll mention is just that the SEC continued to modernize and enhance their framework for disclosures outside the financial statements. This is part of their overall disclosure effectiveness project. Some aspects of these amendments are currently required, and others will become mandatorily effective later this year. So I guess I'd say that's kind of my first focus, would be what's already happened. On the other hand, the second focus would be, I think it's important to pay attention to SEC and their staff activities, such as speeches and other actions, to understand the direction that the commission may be going in the future. So right now we're in kind of a bit of a flux, as consistent with prior changes in presidential administrations. This commission is at 4 members. We're waiting on the final confirmation of President Biden's nominee, Gary Gensler, to become the chairman. However, I don't think we need to wait for that to officially occur to kind of understand where the staff tends to be moving. With the Biden administration and the SEC's recent statements, I think it's clear that one of the new priorities will be enhanced focus on climate risk and other ESG disclosures. So on the plus side, I guess, based on Nareit's recent ESG dashboard, ESG reporting for REITs appears to already be a priority. So hopefully the regulatory burden is not as significant if and when new rules do come out. So I guess we'll see how that plays out on that topic and others once the full commission is established.
When you reflect on the pandemic, what's the biggest takeaway you believe REITs should be on top of at this time?
Well, I trust the REIT management team, so I won't provide any operational thoughts, but from a financial reporting perspective, I think the pandemic reminded me about the importance of clear and transparent disclosures. Clearly, the pandemic impacted and continues to impact some property sectors way more than others. For those companies, the importance of appropriate pandemic-related disclosures was apparent. Those disclosures could be judgments related to impairment, or disclosures about the impact on short-term and long-term liquidity, or the volume of lease concessions required by tenants. However, I don't think that concept of clear and transparent disclosure is limited to impacts of the pandemic. For instance, clearly defined and consistently presented non-GAAP metrics, which include Nareit's defined FFO and EBITDA-RE, as well as other key performance indicators, have always been an important measure to be presented for REITs and their investors. Similarly, disclosures about trends impacting the company or expected to impact the company in the future provide investors with a more comprehensive picture of the company.
Can you talk a bit more about your role at BDO and the work you do focused on SEC reporting?
In my role in BDO's SEC services group, I focus on all aspects of SEC reporting for our REIT clients. This would include monitoring the new or proposed rules and working with the SEC staff as necessary when application questions arise. From there, we also advise our clients on the application and implementation of these new or other existing rules. And then I guess I would also say I offer suggestions on how companies can enhance their disclosures and client filings, as well as consult on other compliance matters.
Brandon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Diane. Appreciate being here.
For more from Nareit's REITwise, visit REIT.com.